Amen.
So everybody can see, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so welcome to the Chaplain Institute. The training today is February 13th, 2021. And I would like to play a worship song just to get us in the worship mode so we can really understand and hear what the Holy Spirit has to say today. I'm only going to play the song for 2 minutes. And after 2 minutes, I'll stop it and then we'll pray. And then we'll go to the relaxation exercise. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay.
We worship you, honor you are worthy to be praised. You are Alpha and Omega. We worship you, you are worthy to be
Better worship song and kind of quiet it down.
Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to go into prayer and then we're going to go into our deep breathing exercises. So, Father, we just thank you. We bless you and we honor you today, God. We thank you for the knowledge that will be set forth today. Thank you for the Holy Spirit who will guide, lead, and teach us to all truth. Lord, I thank you for the minds and people that are gathered here today so that they can hear what thus says the Lord, what the Lord says to evangelize, even talk to other people about issues, concerns, and problems. So, Lord, I thank you that this will fall on ears that will listen, that will learn and apply what they've heard today. And it is in Jesus' name that we pray these things. Amen. So we're going to do now some breathing exercises, and the exercises help us relax. It helps us lower our stress, our heart rate, our blood pressure. It increases our energy levels, and it sends a message to our brain to calm down and to relax after all that we've been through for the last 30 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you can't hear from this end, but I'll let you know when to breathe in and when to breathe out. It's a 2-minute exercise, okay? So breathe in, breathe out. 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 Breathe in and slowly let your breath out. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Breathe in your diaphragm. Let it out slowly. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Okay, that's the whole 2 minutes that we have. So I thought I was going to be able to get you all to go along with me on the slides, but the slides are on the PowerPoint. You won't be able to write your little notes and stuff, but you will be able to see the slides. So you may just have to write your notes independently and separately of the PowerPoint. So what I like to say is coaching is not about the best answers. Coaching is about the great questions. And most people think they have to be intelligent, or they think they have to be the best prepared answers for all of the questions that be asked. You can't predict the answers people are going to give. There are over 7 billion people in this world, on this planet, and there are too many variables to think of one situation that may take a one-size-fits-all. So the best thing that I could tell you to do is, when you're talking to a person, do not show up with an agenda and focus in on their language. The things that come out of the client's mouth will show you the questions you should ask, body language, and so forth. Let the client prove to you that they have a problem, because you are actually doing them a disservice if you give them the gift that they need, but they are not determined or not to implement it if they are not ready. They have to be ready, and they have to be ready to implement the plan. There's no problem you can't help them get through, because they have all the answers. And that's what coaching is based around, the client having the answers. And as soon as you get that concept, you will have no fear of what anybody will ask you. This concept is, don't try to be an answering machine, be the best asking machine. Then when you attach your curiosity, your knowledge about how our brain works, how we create beliefs, how trauma can be released from the body, and then how the conflicts of values and identities and all these things that are going on inside of a human brain, we find out that they can actually be removed. When we attach some high-level questions on top of the curiosity, and we'll talk about that, then on top of the foundations that you'll learn today, which we already practiced before, we practiced grow and we practiced smart, but today we're going to add on OPS and SEA, and we'll get to the what that means. That's where the transformation will occur. The shift can be very powerful. The next statement that I'm going to make will be very interesting and very liberating for you today. Whoever holds the problem holds the solution. Whoever holds the problem holds the solution. If they have the problem, they have their own solution. You don't need to bring your solution to their problem. Bring curiosity to their problem and help them find the solution inside of their own problem. We want them to choose as much as possible because as humans, we commit and stay loyal to what we choose. If other people tell us what we have to do, when we have to do it, or how we have to do it, we won't get committed. We should not give advice. We should not tell them what to do. It will be empowering to the person that you're talking to come up with their own solutions. It's less about our intelligence and more about curiosity on our part. So we're teaching people how to fish. We're not giving them a fish dinner that we have caught, that we have prepared, that we have fried and put it on a plate for them. We're letting them solve their own issues and problems. We never want to influence our emotions, especially our judgments. We don't want to come with an agenda on our intentions onto the person. It's their life, it's their time, and you want to help them get where they need to be. Not where you want them to be, or not even what you want for yourself. And that's a very liberating fact. I'll say that again. We are teaching people how to fish, not giving them a fish dinner that we have caught, prepared, fried, and put on a plate for them. We never want to influence our emotions, our judgment, agenda, or our intentions onto the person. It's their time, and when you want them to, and it's their time, and you want to help them get where they need to be in life, not what you want for them, or even not what you want for yourself. The work is actually done in the client. It's not done in us. That is where the challenges and the conflicts lies. It lies in that person. Helping them with the work and helping them look at things from a different perspective is the key. You're almost like a linguistic surgeon. By going into the model of their world, we have to realize that our brain keeps us stuck sometimes, but it is very liberating and igniting through transformational coaching that things can change. You have the ability through intuition indicators, which we'll talk about today. You have the permission to be curious, to probe. We'll talk about that today. And you have the ability to ask questions, which you will learn in OPS, which will cause deep coaching in some instances. We don't have to have 50-cent words. There's no intellectual pressure on us. It is all on the client. The clients will untie their own knots. So as we said today, I graduated from the Life Forming Leadership course in September 2019, and it was a 16-week course, very, very, very intense. I got a lot of things accomplished during that time, even within myself. So this will definitely help you, even just talking to people. So I'd like to say what coaching is and how coaching is defined. Coaching is unlocking a person's potential to maximize their growth. Coaching is a dialogue and not a monologue, which means it's a two-way conversation. It's a two-way conversation, and it's not by yourself. It's with that person. Mentoring is imparting in you what God has given me. Coaching is drawing out of you what God has put in you. Coaching is drawing out of you what God has put in you. So the objective of this lesson today is to learn, practice, and apply. So we're going to learn some new stuff. We're going to practice it and we're going to apply it. The first thing that we need to do is we need to be authentic and real. We have to be transparent. Listen with your presence, and your heart must be fully engaged. Let the person see your vulnerability. The client will be as authentic with you as you are with them. Powerful questions are brief. Now I'm going to explain each one of these. So when I say the word presencing, let me go back, I'm sorry. When I say the word presencing, that means that requires deliberate, focused attention on that person, receptivity to the other person, and persistent awareness of the other person's humanity. It doesn't mean that you're there just to listen and you're fumbling around and, okay, let me hurry up, this got to get finished. It really means that you're really engaged in what that person has to say. Watch your tone and watch your cadence. That's very important. Help them trust their own advice, because their advice is what's going to solve their issue. Let them see your vulnerability. Just as a note of caution, I'd like to tell you, continually ask for God's safety so that you can show safety to someone else. Because someone or some people will hurt you, they will use your vulnerability against you. So you have to be very careful what you disclose to them. You know, even when you're being authentic, you have to be very careful because they may use that against you one day. The client will be as authentic as you are. People open up because of hurt and desperation. We are not naturally forthcoming because we are naturally protective people. Powerful questions are brief. 1 or 2 questions, that's all you need. They have to be power-packed questions. To build trust, it takes time in any relationship, whether it is personal or business. The next thing we'll talk about is curiosity, listening with curiosity. Listen intently for the most important phrase the client says, and then ask them to tell you more about what they just said. An example would be when they tell you something and you have that intuition to listen and say, wow, that really struck a red flag with me. Could you say more about that? You mentioned so-and-so, so-and-so. Tell me more. Could you explain further what you talked about? Well, describe your feeling about that. You said that, but expand on that a little more. And that's, again, where your intuition kicks in and you hear something that's a red flag and you say, hey, you know, I need to know more about this. So when in doubt, if you don't understand, if they're leading you down a rabbit trail, to ask them, you mentioned 2 different things you wanted to talk over. Which one of those things is most important to you? Narrow them down to 1 or 2 things, preferably 1 thing. And then you say, okay, where would you like to go today in that? Constructing good questions. There are 3 types of questions. There are open questions, curious questions that open the door to let the other person direct the conversation. Remember that. They have to direct the conversation, even though you give them the open questions. The closed questions is close the conversation by forcing a person to choose from options that you supply. Solution-oriented questions are advice in the form of a question. So what I'm going to do is explain each one of these. And it comes in the anonym by the name of door. So open-ended questions or door questions, the D stands for direct questions. Point straight to the heart of the topic. Don't beat around the bush. You may not have a lot of time. You may have to solve this issue in 15 or 20 minutes, especially if you're evangelizing and you see that the person has a real issue or concern. A direct question would be, how do you think God intends for you to handle the situation? In what way is this decision going to take you where you want to go? Those are direct questions. They hit to the heart of the topic. The O in door means open questions. Open the door to an area, but let the client direct the conversation. Always let the client direct the conversation. Example would be, what would you like to talk about today? Or could you tell me a little bit more about that? The O in door is, the second O is ownership question. Focus on the client taking responsibility and being proactive. Example would be, what do you think your options are? Can you think of a positive solution to this problem? Again, giving that client the ability to give answers that they come up with. Revealing questions. The R in door means revealing questions. Help the client look at the situation in a fresh way. Can you express what about the situation stops or hinders you? That's revealing. They have to reveal something. What does your response to this say about who you are, what you're going or called to be? So that's the R in the door. So the open-ended questions are phrased as a statement which requires a response. The closed questions are yes or no answers. If you ask them a closed question, example will be like on a rating scale. You know how you get those surveys and they say, well, rate us on the scale from 1 to 10, or a yes or no answer. Those are closed questions. Questions like, we don't have to engineer questions. That's what I want to say. Most times we have no idea where a session is going. We can't predict it. We don't know where it's going. There may be a lot of hurt. There might be a lot of rejection, abandonment in that person's life. We cannot predict where that situation is going. We truly have to rely on the Holy Spirit to give us direction and give us guidance. So we talked about tuition indicators, which would mean that person's own discernment. That would be your discernment. That would be the discernment that you come up with. The person that's being coached will come up with. What is significant to that person? What do you feel that just stood out and said, oh wow, they keep saying this over and over, so I believe that's significant to that person? Red flags, something that just doesn't sit right with you. Patterns and fruits, something you've seen before in that person's life. Strong emotions, places of great joy and fulfillment or great frustration. It could be either one. So they would, during the conversation, they will show their joy, fulfillment, or their great frustration. The history items might be their family dynamics or age or cultural background. And of course, revelation is what God reveals to you. It's a sudden awareness of something that was previously known. And you might get that while you're sitting there talking to that person. So the first model that we'll do is the grow model. And I think we talked about this in the last class, but we're just going to go over it again just to try to remember where we were at last time. So the grow is a model outline. The G is the goal. That's the actual agenda. The R is the reality. That's the person's starting point. Where are you right now? The O are the options, which is the possibilities, and you let them give the options. The W is the will, which is the most important step because that's the action step. So let's talk about the G and goal. So a question that you might ask as a goal is, what would you like to take away from our time today? So that gives them, that puts the ball back in their court to say, yeah, okay, this is what I want to take away today. What goal would you like to work on in our coaching relationship? Same kind of question, just posed a different way. Can you be more specific about what you want to accomplish? What would make this goal more attainable? How will you know when you've reached the goal? How will you know when you've achieved the goal? By what date would you like to accomplish the goal? So the main thing out of the goal is to get a commitment out of them, to get a goal out of them that is workable, that is doable, and that could be done in maybe the time frame that you all both agree on. So the GROW model is actually used to plan a journey. It's kind of like a roadmap to where the person is going. And it's kind of used, the GROW model is used in kind of like short-term situations for incidental coaching sessions. It's not used for long-term coaching. It can be, but the other model that we're going to talk about, the SMART model, is mostly used for long-term goals. So it could be used for goal setting and problem solving. So another thing about the goal, if the goal is cumbersome, it's not good. It has to be something very specific. The goal has to be anchored to the person's heart. It can't be something that they're not interested in actually achieving. Go where the energy is in the client. Pick up on that. Pick up on the energy in the client, where that client is focusing on the most. And the client should come with a deep desire to change. That's what's important. If they don't have a desire to change, they're not going to make the goal. Coaching is only going to work if the person wants to change. And that has to come from the person, no matter how much we want them to change. So this goal should really excite them. It should really inspire them. And it's not a dream or to-do list. It's an actual goal. So let's go to the R in GROW. Reality. This is the starting point. Help establish a starting point where you are at now. They have to be honest with this. When do you struggle most? When do you struggle most with this? When is the time that is the most, a time that you struggle with this the most? What have been the results of your current course of action? And talk about the factors that led you to this decision. So this is a reality check for them. This is where they really have to think, and they really have to be honest with you and tell them, this is what I struggle with this the most. And they have to say, okay, this is what led me to this decision. Help establish a starting point where they're at now so you can take them where they need to be. So now we get to the O in GROW. These are the possibilities. Again, I just want to remind you, please let the client come up with their own possibilities, because they know better where they need to be. What have you seen in others what have you seen others do that works? They may have had a mentor, a pastor, or somebody at their church, or somebody somewhere that they say, okay, I've seen that work for them. Can you give me 5 possible ways you might address this? And that's where, again, they have to think. They have to think, okay, what could I do? Who could you ask that could help you come in with a possible solution? Resources. They need resources. What other resources can you tap into? If you don't know anybody, can you tap into somebody at somewhere else? Or do you know somebody that knows somebody? What else might be possible? Give them the opportunity to think this through. What would you do even if you knew you couldn't fail? So these are some of the things that you give them options for. The last part is the W. This is the very most important part. This is the part where this is the action step. This is the part where they really have to say, hey, I'm going to make this happen. Which option do you want to pursue? So you're taking all the options that they gave you out of the O, and you're saying, okay, which one of these do you want to pursue? Can you give me 5 possible ways you might address this? Who could you ask that could help you come up with a possible solution? What other resources can you tap into? What else might be possible? I think that's not the right one. Wait a minute. Oh, yes, it is. Okay. Let's see. That doesn't seem right. Nope, that is not right.
Seems like it's got some of the,
Yeah, I think I messed up with this. Let me see.
yeah.
So let's change this. So the action steps would be which options do you want to pursue? That would be an action step. What action step will you take to move toward this goal? On a scale from 1 to 10, how certain are you that you will take this step? What would it take to make that 6 into an 8? Let's just say they say it's a 6, and then you say, okay, what would it get you to an 8 or 9? And what obstacles might get in the way? I'm sorry I messed up on this slide. And I didn't, I had it last time and I didn't even realize that it wasn't right. So those are the action steps. Those are the real important things that they have to choose an option and commit to themselves. So now we get into what we didn't talk about last time, which is the OPS. And that stands for observing, probing, and sifting. So when you start probing, you're probing for deeper meaning. That's used for exploring a new goal, a place the person is stuck, used as an opportunity for growth. And usually when you see that person is stuck, you're going to probe for more information. Listen intently as the person describes the goal. Ask open-ended questions. Don't move on too quickly and stay a little longer in the observation stage. You can say, tell me more about that. Can you give me a recent example? Can you give me some background? Probe a little deeper. Probe a little deeper. Probing for deeper meaning used for exploring a new goal, a place the person is stuck, and used as an opportunity for growth. So you're probing, you begin to follow up on some of the intuition indicators. You follow up on your curiosity, listen to the Holy Spirit, ask about what seems most significant. Use probing questions to open up new vistas or help the client see the situation from a new perspective without going into problem-solving mode. One of the questions you may ask would be, what's going on inside of you as this is happening? What does that mean? What caused you to respond that way? So the S in OPS is called sifting. Sifting is a process of helping the client to identify outside the obvious what might be going on in a life situation. It is a collaborative between you and the client, not a diagnosis. Ownership and revealing questions can be great tools here. As your client provides input, you follow their lead and integrate the input. Do you think there's anything going on spiritually for you in this situation? That might be a question you may ask. And that's sifting, helping the client identify obvious things that might be going on. How are your personal strengths and weaknesses playing out in this situation? What needs to change in you? Again, sifting through all of that stuff, and so you can get to the root of the issue. If you were to respond in a way that you would be truly proud of a year from now, what would you do? Again, making them think, making them come up with their own solutions to the issue. So what we're going to do now is we're going to stop and we're going to look at a video that has to do with how to coach. It's a really good video. And I want you to listen to it. There's 2 videos. I think this one is 17 minutes and 17 seconds, and next one is 8 minutes and 18 seconds. So we'll look at that next. And hopefully that you can hear it and see it. So let me cut it on here.
Would you like to learn how a masterful coach works with clients? Would you like a detailed view on their coaching techniques and how they use them in their coaching sessions? Well, you ask and we listen. Hi, this is Navlaka, and today I'm breaking down a powerful real-life coaching session so you can be an even better coach. We're going to learn from the best and use master coach and EverCoach author Rich Lippman's live coaching session demonstration at EverCoach Summit 2016. To help you make the most out of this video, I'm going to teach you through the step-by-step process of a powerful coaching conversation. Show you some of the snippets of Rich demonstrating it, and then some action steps that you can easily implement. So let's get down to business. If you know me or have been to any of our events, you know I like getting down. If you like getting down, give me a hell yeah in the comment section below. Okay, I digress. But we gotta have a little fun, y'all. To have a powerful session, you must have a powerful start. The first step is going to set the tone for the rest of the session. So make sure it's a great one. The first pillar is identify what they really need. Oftentimes, clients get a coach because they seek for help, but they're not clear on what they want and need from their coach. You will know when they look something like this. Having this clarity is crucial for you to guide your client in the right direction so you can create the results you committed to create. So start the coaching conversation bringing this clarity by understanding where your client is coming from and diving deep into what they really need so you can best serve them. A great question to start with is, how can I serve you today? Here is what I mean.
Recently found myself laid off in May. I am a corporate trainer. It's a natural thing for me to talk. I'm happy usually when I'm talking, and I find myself giving everything that I've got, but oftentimes I'm in the layoff bunch, and I find
What does that mean? What's the layoff?
I usually I'm in a sector of a business that gets laid off. So I'm usually in the service sector or training sector, and I'll find myself laid off after a couple of years. Or
It's happened a number of times.
correct. This is my third layoff. So being, but love what I do. I love to train. I love to.
Let me pause you again for the sake of time. How can I support you?
I would say that I need support in knowing that everything happens for a reason. I find myself laid off, but I think it's because I should be moving into my purpose, and it's terrifying
What's terrifying?
It is terrifying to figure out what that is, lean in, live it every day, when I'm used to being given content or being told what to say. So for me to step out on my own and my own message, to really kind of evolve without having, I guess.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
What if, let's assume for a second that Blaine was correct. He might not be, but let's assume that he's correct. What he told us is that you don't need a message. Your clients are the ones you need to listen to.
To be quiet.
How would life change you?
To be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be my challenge. I'm used to always talking.
Okay.
So for me to be quiet, to actively listen for that story, I think is also terrifying. Because I would rather just sit here and talk all day about whatever.
Still the same.
So safe. But to really be present to really receive and to know that I'm doing that efficiently, I think is also.
Note that there's a difference between what they need and what they really need. In this short clip, we could see how Rich was trying to peel back the layers of the onion in order to get to the bottom thing.
Some background
What
music.
do you really need? Know yourself and you will win all battles. As a coach, you must be able to wiggle your way through the layers and know when you're getting that part of the need. So if they say they need help in their business, maybe what they really need is to work on their mindset or habits. What are some of your go-to opening questions that you share with me in the comment section below? The second pillar, help your clients see.
Go ahead.
Yes, and right there, I can.
Have you ever played boo with a baby?
He's speaking clearly.
Even though it's just hiding behind our hands, a baby doesn't realize it and gets surprised every time you show up again. Sometimes the thing that is right in front of you is the least obvious thing. This is where a coach comes in. Let's first watch Rich approach this pillar in his coaching demonstration. Yeah, I had a building company. And tell me about that building company.
The building company was from age 40 to 49. We did 18 million in sales. 2008, when the economy fluctuated. You know,
We can't really hear this interview correctly.
it was a real hard time. Yeah, I lost everything in 2008.
Yeah. Yeah, it was hard being fired, but losing everything, it takes it to another level. I get it.
Yeah, I remember decorating the backyard for my daughter's graduation.
Hello there. In this video, we are discussing the model developed by Sir John Whitmore called.
Sorry. You saw you couldn't hear?
Not too well.
Okay,
I was talking, yeah, but when they went to the interview, we couldn't really hear that.
Okay,
If you give me the link to that, I'll send it to everybody.
Okay, I was trying to turn the sound up, and for some reason it turned on the next video. Let's see. Oh.
Would you like to learn how a masterful coach works with clients?
And it won't go to the next. It won't go.
Would you like a detailed
It will not go to the.
Oh,
I can't
view
make it
on
go. I'm so sorry. For some reason, I can't make it. Let me see. Oh no, here it is. Okay, here we go.
Right now, yeah.
And tell me about that building company.
The building company was from age 40 to 49. We did 18 million in sales. And then 2008, when the economy fluctuated, you know, it was a good time.
Can't find my button.
Yeah. Was that a hard time?
It was a real hard time. Yeah, I lost it in 2008.
Yeah. Yeah, it was hard being fired, but losing everything, it takes it to another level. I get it.
Yeah, it was devastating. You know, I remember decorating the backyard for my daughter's graduation, and they were towing vehicles out of my driveway.
I'm a dad, so I feel that one. Just coming back into your business, $18 million towards the end of it. 4 years in, what was business like?
In the building company?
Mm-hmm.
Probably 400,000, $500,000 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How did you feel back then? Did it feel like we were a complete success, or did it feel like we should be doing so much better?
Oh no, it never felt like a success. Yeah, it didn't matter where I got. Yeah.
So what I'm hearing, if I'm right, is that one of the mindsets that helps you to succeed in life is, if I don't feel like a success, then I have to take certain actions, do certain things, show up a certain way, and that leads to success.
Yeah.
And it works, right?
Seems to. Yeah.
So you not feeling like a success as a coach is what, at least until now, is the mindset that works for you. And you want me to take that away.
Yeah. Yeah. I never looked at it like this, the mindset I've created to achieve success.
What Rich does is he asks questions about the background and history to start identifying patterns that are being repeated in the client's behavior. For example, what were you doing before? Tell me about that time. Was it a hard time? How did you feel back then? These patterns are behavioral models that the clients seem to repeat over and over again, unconsciously, in different situations. Uncovering these patterns could be a major turning point for the client. They will become aware of these unconscious mindsets and behaviors, which is the first step towards change and transformation. Another useful tool to help your clients see what they can't see is to give them the space to imagine their future. This is an especially valuable technique for clients who are not sure what they want out of the coaching conversation because their goal is unclear. Rich has a very fun way to do this, and it goes something like this.
3 years have gone by. I pick up the phone. Hey, Rich, it's Greg. It's been 3 years. Remember we sat on stage together at that event, and I shared some stuff with you. Well, these 3 years have been amazing. My life has transformed, business, personal life, professionally. Everything's transformed. What would you be telling me, Greg? Okay. Will you talk to me right now as if we're literally on the phone? I'm going to pick up the phone in a second. And you're in present tense, you're telling me, well, life is a... Here's how you're going to begin. Are you okay with bad language?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, you're going to start with this. Holy shit, Rich.
Oh.
So, Greg, hi. I wasn't expecting to hear from you.
Holy shit, Rich.
Enabling your client to imagine their life as if they were in that present moment brings up their conscious or unconscious dreams. It will be highly valuable for you as the coach to understand what direction they want to take so you can best help them get there. What's next? The third pillar is create the space for your clients to have insights. Here's where many coaches make a huge mistake when trying to create results for their clients. They give out all the advice, list down what they would do, and answer their client's questions. That's the exact opposite of what we should be doing as a coach. Shifts don't happen because we give out all the answers. It's like giving a student the response sheet before the exam. They might pass the exam, but they surely won't learn anything. The power of coaching is this. You're expected to give people the path to find the answers, not the answers. Help your client by not telling them the insight, but through opening up the space for them to have the insight. That's how real, profound, and lasting shifts happen. Here's a great question Rich uses that you should write down.
Most people are seeking freedom from my boss, freedom from my job, freedom from my wife, my husband, my boyfriend, freedom from my kids if I had more time, freedom from debt. This is a 3-level distinction. You can move beyond freedom from to freedom to. That's a life changer. Freedom to have a job that I love. Freedom to make an impact. Freedom to travel wherever I want to, whenever I want to. And then there's a level beyond that. And that's freedom. And that's not freedom from, and it's not even freedom to. It's the freedom that's inside of you that you have access to in any moment. What do you hear when I share that distinction?
What do you hear when I share that distinction? Allow your client to find the hidden gems from your conversation. What emotions or thoughts are coming up? What belief or mindset has surfaced that they didn't know they had? What are they discovering about themselves that they weren't aware of? The fourth pillar is to dive deeper into what your client needs. Now, you might wonder, what do you mean by dive deeper? We already uncovered what our clients need in the first part, right?
Yeah.
Well, yes. But as you move into the conversation and your client starts gaining insights, they will also notice new thoughts, behaviors, patterns arising, and they hadn't seen those before. This means they will also have more clarity on the direction they need to take and the action steps that should follow. Here's an example on how Rich approaches this.
Where wouldn't I have gone? What's the deeper cut we haven't yet gone to? The thing you don't want to say. Yeah, that one.
That I think one of the things that really holds me back is the way I have my business set up. I am not at all the face of my business. People know my name, but people don't really, like, if you look at any of my marketing, anything else, I'm really not the face of it. And I think that I'm incredibly afraid to put myself out there like that, even though I know it's something that I need to do.
That's a big one for you, right?
It's a big one.
What happens when you're willing to go where it looked like I was done? So you're pretty bold coming up here then.
Did you notice how one simple question took the conversation even deeper than it was before? You have the power to push and challenge your clients more, even when they think they might have already had all the insights they need. What else is there? What can be left to work on? If not in that session, in the next one. Start unlocking the mindsets they need to get rid of, the new behaviors they should embrace, and the action steps they should start taking. And it all came from one simple, powerful question. What would we have missed if we stopped the conversation at this moment? The fifth pillar is to know when to stop the conversation. It's important as a coach to know when to keep pushing your clients and to know when to stop. Other than ending the conversation when the time is up, notice when the client has had enough deep shifts and needs some downtime to process on what just happened and call it a day. If we keep overloading them, it might backfire as they could find it too overwhelming to process or to move forward, or they might have too many insights and an unclear direction of their next step. As Rich simply puts, another piece in the art of coaching is to know when to take somebody off the hot seat. Those were the 5 pillars to deliver a powerful coaching conversation based on key elements from this live coaching demonstration. The first pillar was to identify what your client really needs. The second one was to help clients see what they can't see. The third was to create space for your clients to have insight. The fourth was to dive deeper into what your clients need. The fifth pillar was to know and to stop the conversation. Which of these steps do you want to start trying immediately in your coaching session? Share it with us in the comment section below so we can all learn together. My hope is that you now understand how coaching sessions could look like. The demonstration snippets we just saw were from a powerful coaching conversation. You could also deliver coaching sessions like that if you keep doing the work. My wish for you is that you continue to learn, practice, and get better and better in your coaching ability. Seems like your interested, curious self finished watching this educational video all the way till the end. Well, congrats on that. You probably know a few people who are curious like you. Go ahead and share this video with them, because sharing is caring. We release videos like this every week. You probably don't want to miss them. So go ahead and smash that subscribe button so you can get a notification every single time we release a new video. Spread the love, stay awesome, and have a phenomenal day. GROW, the GROW model of coaching. Before we get into full understanding of how the GROW model works, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button so I can send you a quick notification every single time we release a new video. So let's get started and understand how the GROW model works. Firstly, the GROW model of coaching was developed by Sir John Whitmore. He passed recently. It was an unfortunate event for the entire coaching industry. He had been a great contributor to it, and his company is a fantastic company in the area of corporate coaching. You should look up his work. He wrote a book called Coaching for Performance. You can go check it out. It'll be linked down below. One of the ideas from the book is called Grow Model of Coaching. It has got a lot of traction, a lot of fame in the past years because of the quality of outcomes it can create, especially in a work life. Now, the Grow model is more effective in work setting, mostly because it works from a place of goals. It works from the idea that one must have a goal, and then it works on a model that allows you to be able to meet your goals a lot more effectively and efficiently. As a consequence of the focus of the Grow model, what happens is lots of times when there is a philosophical conversation that we are having or a philosophical need that we want to address, it may mean we are working with an idea that may not have a very specific goal or an outcome that we're really trying to achieve, which kind of makes the model itself not really work in that particular scenario. So until you're working in a scenario where there's a clear focused goal, Grow model works great, and you should consider using it in your coaching methodology. Now, like I already said, G in the Grow model starts with the goal. What is the goal? What is the outcome that we really want to get to? What is it that we're really working towards? This is where you help your client clearly identify the goal that they're going towards and what is the outcome that they're really chasing. It may be in context of a short-term goal or in a context of a long-term goal, but it does need to be defined first. Once you've identified what's the goal, you move on to the R. The R is for a reality check or current reality. This is where you're identifying what is happening right now. Where are we right now? It's like evaluating the stage of where you are right now so you can identify how far you are from the goal. A reality check may mean simply, how's the team doing right now? How is the revenue doing right now? What are the other elements that need to be considered as a reality check before we even start considering how to get to the goal? Which brings us to the third thing, which is options. Options is basically what are the different opportunities and options that you may have for you to be able to go from the current reality check that you had to the goal that you want to get to. You want to be able to evaluate all these different options. Sometimes this O is also replaced by obstacles, because if you haven't identified these obstacles in the stage of reality check, you want to identify them right now. What are the different obstacles that may happen in your progress towards the goal? And while you write these obstacles down, you may also see these are some of the options that you need to consider for you to be able to get to your goal. So this is where you write down a list of different options and obstacles that may stop you from being able to get to your goal. And the last is the will, or your way forward. What is it that you will do? After understanding the reality, understanding the goal that you're going to get to, what is it that you will do? What are the few things that you are choosing to say, this is what we're going to pursue so we can get to our goal? This is to bring clarity to your daily action so you can meet the goal that you've set out to. Now, while you're coaching a client using the Grow model, you have to be really present too when they're communicating what their goals are. You need to inquire if they're really sure that that is the goal. You need to challenge them back on the goal that they're presenting, because often most clients will present to you very surface level goals. You want to dig deeper. You want to find the real essence of what the goal is, what the meaning behind that goal is, and why that goal is so important to your client. The same is true when we are doing reality check. On the surface, most of the clients will give you the most obvious answer. They will talk about what is really in front of them. But the reality check, a good reality check, involves you digging a little bit deeper, asking them why certain realities are the realities, why some things that they believe to be true, things that they believe are their current reality, but maybe a perceived reality. You want to question them on that so they can explore their reality further and know what is the real truth of the situation they're in right now. The clearer they are about their reality check, the clearer they are about things like where the team stands. Does the current product suite allow them the capability to increase revenue? Is the profitability really, really good, or they'll have to sacrifice some of the profitability to be able to create long-term growth? The reality check around each of the areas will inform the options that they are going to come up with. So we need to be certain as a coach that we have given them enough space, time, and the right questions so they can come up with the right reality check, informing the options and the obstacles that may stop them to be able to get to the goal, which brings us to the idea of exploring options. You need to have your clients write as many options as possible. This is not this is a good option, this is a bad option exercise. It's an options exercise. What are the different paths we could take as a company to get to the outcome that we want to get to? We want this stage to be creative. We want our clients to be able to explore these options as fully as they want and take the time as much they want to be able to say, hey, listen, we have creatively thought about it. These are all the different options. Because the last step is where we clearly define what we will do. Once we have all the options on the table, once we have that list, now we evaluate based on the outcome we want to get to, the reality that we are in, and the different options that we have as to which is the first few steps that we would want to take. Is it just one thing that we're going to focus on? Is it going to be two things? Is it going to be three things? I invite you to not have more than three things with your clients as things that they will do. Most of the companies, most of the teams cannot focus for more than 3 items at any given time, which means if they end up choosing 10 things that they will do, is a possibility that the team will get overwhelmed, the client will get overwhelmed, and that may lead to them not taking action and hence not meeting their goal, and then our entire coaching process becomes futile. So invite your clients to decide no more than 3 things that they will do in a set timeline that will help them achieve the goal. So that is the GROW model, G-R-O-W. There are many such great models that you could use to be able to create an amazing impact in your client's life. You can use these tools to be quick and powerful as a coach. Now that you know the GROW model, share with us below if you've ever used this model before, or if this was the first time you even heard about this model. What do you think about this model? Share with me in the comment section below. GROW model is powerful, so share it with a friend that you think needs to know what the model is and how to use it. Go ahead and hit the like button if you liked this tool. And don't forget, hit the red subscribe button so every single week as I create these educational videos for you to become a better coach and have a greater practice, to inform, and so you can come check it out and make this your weekly ritual. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Hello?
Okay,
Can you hear me?
yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry about the cussing in the first one. I didn't look at the whole entire video. I would have never put that on, ever. But
Well, we have to understand we're dealing with unsafe people sometime too, so.
yeah, the content was so good at the beginning, I just didn't look at the end. I looked at the other video, but I didn't look at the first video. So I apologize. I'm so sorry. That is not even the language I would even use. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go over one more thing, and then I'd like to end the session and then practice the GROW and the OPS, but I'm not sure how that's going to work since they don't have the handout. I don't know how that's going to work because they kind of need a guide to go by. So will we skip that part, or I don't know? Because they're not going to get any practical application without the handouts.
Can you put the OPS slide up? And I have my book here so that somebody can use.
Okay, so I just asked, does anybody have any questions about GROW or OPS? If they have any questions, I just want to say, did you recognize some of the GROW and the OPS models inside of the videos? Did anybody recognize them?
Kathy said she did.
Okay, so they were probing and sifting and observing. The one guy, he was doing that so he could let him look into the future. And he said one good thing. He says, don't give advice. Don't give advice. Don't answer the questions for them.
Right.
Give people the path to find the answer. Don't give them your answers. he really was good when he was talking about, he said, the thing that you don't want to say. That was a revealing question to that lady. She had to reveal something that she never would have thought about had he not said something about, tell me the thing that you don't want to say. And that really hit to the part of her where she said, oh, you know, I need to reveal this. So those were the things that I noticed in the video. So you said to put up the OPS. So let's go back. Oh, it was more than one slide though. That's the only thing.
The O is observe, right?
Right.
No. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. Observing,
Probing.
probing, and sifting. So it's gonna be hard to do without the slides. I don't even know how they can do that. So why don't we just do the grow model? We'll leave out the OPS because that's something simple that they can do. If they just put down what the G means, what the R means, the O means, and the W means. The OPS is really getting a little bit more involved. It's part of the conversation model, but it doesn't have to be. So why don't we just do grow? And what I like people to do, how long do you want to give them, Trish?
12 minutes.
So what I want one person, because we're going to do two models, what I want one person to do is be the coach this time. Then the next time when we do SMART and SEA, that person's going to turn around and be the mentee. So you're going to switch roles. So if you're the coach this time, you're going to be the mentee the next time.
So we're doing the OPS?
Well, we're not going to do OPS because unless you can make copies for everybody. But the book is kind of a little bit more simple because you said you had the book there. Let me see if I could put up the growth slide, which tells.
Here's the right goal. So okay, I'm just going to use this scenario. Okay, we'll say that I think we did this example in somebody did it like last time. All right, you have a goal. All right, say you wanna. Your goal is to weigh 175 pounds. I know for some of us it's increasing, but some of us it's decreasing, right? So we're just going to say that because we're there on female. Okay, so goal, that's your goal. I want to be 175 pounds. So what do I have to do to get there? Well, first of all, reality. Where am I now? Right. If I'm 150 pounds, I have to gain 25 pounds, right? If I'm 185 pounds, I have to lose 10 pounds. So it depends on who you are, right?
Sorry, I can turn, I'll just turn it on.
Yeah, when she gets back, we'll try it again. Okay, so then that's the reality. We're figuring out where we are now, right? All right. So then
Okay, Doreen, do you want to go through this? The grow, can you hear me?
You're gonna have to eat more. Right. And if you
Also,
lose
what
weight,
you have
then
diet and exercise.
okay, so that's, all right, so it will, or to gain weight, you have to bulk up. You have to bulk up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doreen, can you hear me?
Some of the foods that are causing you to gain weight.
Okay, so which one are we gonna do? Are we say we're losing or gaining?
What's it losing?
Okay.
Oh, man, story of my life.
Okay.
That's the most popular.
Yeah, most people have to, but, you know.
Okay, I got all
Well,
the
the pandemic
possibilities.
sure did me. Right, okay, so we'll say your goal, depending on where you are, is 10 or 25 pounds. We're just gonna say, so
Okay.
what do you have to do in 10 or 25, to lose 10 or 25 pounds?
Not eating carbs.
Okay, one option is stop eating carbs, right?
Eat more fruits and vegetables.
I'm just the reality of it. What's the
The
reality?
reality is, where are you now?
I thought it would be like
I'll just never eat until I lose that weight. That's not real.
That's the option.
That's all, okay.
That's the option. So the real is, where are you now? Do you have to gain 25 pounds?
Right, I understand.
Okay, so that's figuring out, where the heck am I in the sliding scale? It could be quitting smoking, okay?
Yeah.
Whatever, but losing weight is a pretty easy one, right? Or gaining weight, depending. So,
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
for some people, it's hard to gain.
Yeah,
weight.
yeah.
It's hard.
I wish that was my problem.
Well, I don't think any of us have
I
that.
don't know.
Maybe
I
I
Barbie.
thought Trish wanted you and I to
Okay, so you're-
work on,
Whoever we
one
are,
of
we have to lose 10 or 25 pounds.
Right.
All right, so one of the options is to
Change
cut
the
out
diet. Change the
carbs.
diet.
Okay, so it's a changing diet somehow. Like, for example, my son-in-law went on keto, which to me is like, what? You know, you
Oh,
eat more,
that's
yeah.
confusing term. Yeah,
Right, okay,
know.
but that was an option, because right, you have to judge,
Yeah.
because the fats, yes, cause you to use your body fat or something, because you got.
Did it work for him?
Yeah, I lost 25 pounds. But anyway, so.
Exercise is another.
Exercise, so she said fruits and vegetables and exercise, so that's another thing.
Changing your eating behavior.
Yeah.
Your
Okay,
pattern, your eating
like if
pattern.
you
Lifestyle.
nibble all day long.
Yeah, no snacks, remind,
Or if you
meals
don't
a
eat,
day.
or if you don't eat regularly, okay? So it might be eating 3 meals a day, eating smaller portions, 5 or 6
No
times. a
fast
day.
foods.
No fast foods, okay? So those are the different options that we came up with. So the will is, what steps is your client going to take? Okay, well, I'm not gonna cut out potato chips because it's my favorite snack. Okay, so that's not what they're gonna do, right?
So what would you like to cut out?
Exactly, right,
What would you like to
What
avoid
is
out
it
of
you
your,
do? And
your
then they
today?
commit to it. And then one of the other things in the SMART model was you set a time limit for it.
okay, Doreen,
Like
I
what, so
thought
that
Trish
by,
told us to work on the grow together.
by 4th of July, I'll have the other 15 pounds off. And that, so it's a measurable goal, that's what the SMART. But it's a time thing, because what are you gonna do? You're gonna do this for the rest of your life to lose 25 pounds? No, so it has to be, that's measurable for SMART. So, anyway, somebody's chatting with me, let's see who is that? Madeline, probably.
Yes, Trish, it's me. I know you told Doreen and I to unmute our phones, but I can't hear her.
All right,
And
so basically that's the grow thing, and it's pretty simple to remember grow. And the one thing that I want to say is, when we're working with people, we're not just limiting always to coaching methods or mentoring methods or counseling methods. We're not cutting them out. We have to be kind of on our feet, what's working with the person. That some people that are like basket cases that are just like, they need you to counsel and tell them where to go.
Well,
But-
this is just one model, too.
Right.
There were other models. And I see that each one of these, G, R, O, and W, somebody needs to bring reality into the picture. Like your goal could be unreal.
Right.
Your options that you suggest could be not really something that's possible.
Right, so that's what you talk about, using some of these questions.
Your will, I mean, you can question somebody's will after, I mean,
So they have to be accountable.
they have to be realistic.
Like after a week, well, how are we
Yeah.
done? After a week, what have you been doing?
Yeah, my idea of what I could do didn't work out,
Right, so
I need
yeah,
to regroup and maybe take smaller steps.
You can break it down even more.
Well, sometimes we get excited, we want to do something, and we take it on ridiculous, and we fail the first day.
that's right.
The reality.
Like the fast that came up.
Yeah.
I was very conscious what to fast, because I know from the past,
You try to do more than one.
I tried to do more
Like if
than,
you're gonna lift
I
weights.
couldn't do what Bob, Panic, or Pastor Bob could do. I couldn't do what some people could do. I could only do what Mark could do.
Right.
And that took a while to find out.
So that first one, goal, the agenda, okay, I want to lose weight.
So
What's
that's
your
where-
goal? If your goal could be totally,
Well, that's where you have to kind of help guide them to see that's, okay, I'm gonna be, you know, a runway model. Okay, well, you know, I'm 60 years old, I'm really, you know, I'm not a stick, you know, whatever, you know.
I probably trip on the runway.
Right, you know, so that's not realistic, so,
Right.
so we're trying
It
to
has to
help,
be a realistic goal, absolutely.
you know, so that you kind of have to know, get to people, and it's a short, this is a short, easy one.
Some people need to be brought down from their goal, and other people need
To a
to be
realistic
encouraged
goal.
to take on more than what they're suggesting.
Right, right. And so the thing about these questions, and we can get the links to those videos, because those examples of seeing a person use it,
Right.
right?
A
is-
wrong way and a right way.
The goal may not be to lose weight, the goal may be to change behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's
Because
usually what
the
it
weight
is.
loss
Yeah.
comes when you change your behavior, so the goal may not be weight loss.
It's a good
It may
point.
be
Yeah.
behavior, it may be.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why you have to work with what, the people you're working with,
What they are,
what they're,
where they're at,
you know, what,
yeah, that's what you can't decide, I can fix you. You have to listen to them, actually.
Yeah,
pull
you
them
gotta,
out.
you gotta know what their eating habits are.
well, that's, yeah, you know,
For sure
and the
you gotta
other
go-
thing, in the OPS, that would be probing, right?
Right. the program.
Yes.
But in all of our conversations, it's, you know, just getting some of these wordings to help people. It's important, because you don't even consider it, so it's why we're repeating some of this stuff, and it overlaps on a lot of different. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, boy, it could be emotional issues tied to that too. you know.
Right.
You know, generally, yeah.
That's why, look, it's got options there, the possibilities. They have to be possible.
right,
Yeah.
right,
Sometimes people come up with options that they're not possible.
right.
Yeah, maybe the starting point isn't, maybe you gotta work on the emotional issues.
Yeah,
with
because
that person.
when I eat junky food or whatever, when
Right. I
I,
feel
I'm
sad.
all alone, or
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
this, or I'm
I
that.
smoke when
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
stressed.
what
Yeah.
can you do in that
Yeah.
time instead of eating? What other interests do you have?
yeah,
That's a
what
good point.
other
Yeah.
If
ways
you-
can you relieve the
If you
stress?
say, if you're trying, your goal is to quit smoking, and you say, well, I smoke when I'm stressful, well, now the action's gonna have to be, how do you deal with stress?
Yeah.
The smoking really is like a
It's the,
byproduct, you know, because now you're gonna say, well, don't smoke, but yet they still gotta they gotta find a new outlet for their stress.
What do you do to fight the urge? Like-
Yeah, that's the most, like Paul was saying, the action's different than the goal. It's,
so can I ask something, since I'm sort of new at all
no, you
this?
can't. I mean, go ahead.
This,
Yes,
okay,
Mark, since you're in charge, we're gonna do
okay,
it.
so this client that you're talking about, is this somebody that you just, that comes up to you? Is this, I don't know if I'm making myself clear. So would this be anybody like a friend or anybody that comes up and they come up to you and say, you know what? I really I need to do this, or I need to do that, and then I could go into that grow
Right,
thing with them. Okay.
right, so it could be,
Because I think I've done that with a lot of people and not realized.
Right,
The
right.
one thing I've realized is open-ended questions are the best questions
Right.
to ask somebody who's in need of anything.
but a lot of times what we do when we're dealing with people is we're providing the answer.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's,
And they
that's
don't-
the
and
number
it's
one
not-
thing that's
And
stuck
that's
up.
not,
Yeah,
there,
stuck up.
sometimes, like I said, when you're basket case, you need some answers, like you just have to not go where the drugs are, okay? You know, you
Right.
just need to
Right.
get.
So
Don't go into a bakery.
They'll ask
Right.
you what you would do. And that's one, you know, when the person with the problem is asking you for what you would do, okay, you might be able to speak into that, but we have to be conscious not to be ready to provide what we think is the solution.
Right.
Right.
The
Yeah,
idea is to work with this person so that they come up with the
They're all
solution.
right,
for
and
them.
then, and even,
And
and
I
that always
think-
works better, because they're not gonna, you know, you try to do it, they try to do what you suggest, and
Yes,
you're
but it's
just.
not them. That was you.
Yeah,
That was
right, yeah.
your solution for you.
Now,
Right.
is it okay if that person says, well, you know, like, okay, for the weight loss or whatever. So Cindy, well, when, you know, when you did that, what were some of the things that helped you? Is that something that's to share your experience, or is it
I would
only-
say
that's what
yes,
she
but
was
you gotta be careful.
Yeah, that's what Karen was saying when you're talking about being too transparent.
Okay, so you
Right.
get to know what their needs are and then
Right,
sort of
You wanna stay on
let the
that
Holy
page.
Spirit guide you in that
Yeah.
area then.
right.
A lot.
And that's the whole thing. I think we.
You wanna draw the solution
Right,
out
the Holy
of
Spirit
them,
has to come.
that
Okay.
they see as the
Yeah.
solution.
Okay.
And I personally am so quick that, wow.
Let me
And
help you.
and I'll even take it like, oh, God gave you the solution to tell this person.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, Mark, good.
It's rebel.
I thought you always told us that.
Okay, I think
Well, I'm
we're
gonna
getting ready.
stop.
Okay, we're gonna get ready to start again.
I'm gonna grow.
So we're gonna. I don't think they.
I don't think the phone is gonna work. It sounded like-
Hey, Trish, you're back.
Okay.
It was echoing.
Hey,
It sounded
Trish,
didn't
back.
come out loud for some reason. It was still muffled.
Yeah, I was hearing 6 different.
Yeah, and I don't know what the music was that was playing in the background. It was kind of like music.
Can you hear me?
So once again,
Unmute your mic.
listen more, talk less.
Unmute.
You have to take your own list.
I Hey, boy.
You know what, we all need that advice.
Thank you,
Okay,
Cindy.
you guys are all,
Coming to my aid.
No, I'm talking for myself.
Oh,
all right, we're all on here, by the way.
Yeah.
It's 1:35.
Okay, we're ready for you, Karen. I don't know if Madeline and Doreen ever unmuted and hooked up.
No, they didn't. Everybody's mic is on mute.
Well, they were supposed to unmute.
Okay, so do we go along or we just wait on them or what do we do?
I'm sure they can hear us. They're still there. So the next time we break, I'll give them a request to unmute so they can talk to each other.
Okay. So what did you all discuss?
What did you all discuss?
Well, what we actually did is try to do a group thing. And
Okay.
we talked about how to lose weight.
Hello there. Would you like
Okay, you got ahead of me. That was in my smart video.
Ah,
But that's okay. We can still do it.
right, because it's a consistent example for everybody.
Right. Yeah, that's why I chose that on my smart video.
So it'll really emphasize it in everybody's mind.
Right. So is everybody listening?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
listening. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to talk about something just before we get to smart. I just want to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that's the Gen Z generation. They're an entirely different species from us. Who in here, I'm just saying, if you ever have to counsel them, I have 4 teenage granddaughters, 4, and 1 teenage grandson. So it's been a challenge to talk to them and counsel them. And just by a show of hands or saying who has teenagers between the ages 13 and 19? Is that most of you or some of you?
Kids,
Yes.
grandkids.
Nieces and nephews.
Do you find that they're an entirely different, they have a different outlook and understanding and perspective of the world?
Well, the millennials do, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the Gen Zs are coming up right behind them, and I guess, of course, they would have probably even lesser perspective of things than the millennials. But the millennials, for me, are the real headache. Yeah, they just don't get it. They don't want to get it.
One thing I talked about, one thing I looked at in another video was understanding their model of the world. And when I talk to my teenage granddaughter, it doesn't mean that I agree with them, but I'm seeking to understand their model of the world and how they think. not seeking to change it or fix it or so that it matches mine. And that's what I was doing at first. I just have to understand where they're coming from. And I think they categorize the Gen Z generation of people being born between 1996 and 2010. Some say that it has no end yet because they don't know when. I don't know if they're going to name the new generation born after 2010. But they have a vast amount of knowledge, things that we were never exposed to. And therefore, they tend to create their own agenda that serves their needs, and they create their own narrative about issues that they have been influenced by through internet, through social media, and mobile systems. They have been called the me generation. They have become very comfortable with collecting information and cross-referencing many sources of information through social media. This generation of self-learners is also more comfortable absorbing knowledge online rather than in traditional institutions or learning or even wisdom from elders. So they're searching for the truth. We can see that. But they have many different truths. There's no one path, there's no one way. And they are less willing to accept diverse points of view like we are. They have a greater freedom of expression, which we would call back in our day disrespect. So I just thought this would be interesting. I found 2 posts on Facebook and they really caught my attention. The first one was, spend time with your elders. Not everything can be found on Google. And that's what I told my granddaughter. Young people, don't let I'm grown boundaries cut off the wisdom of elders. If you're not teachable, you will not grow. So they need to know these things. And that's the generation that's going to be very, very hard to get to just talk to them, because they have their own mind made up of what they're going to do and what the world is about. Even though they haven't even been out here in the world, they have their own mind of what they want to do and how they want to do it and when they want to do it. And it's so hard for them to listen to wisdom, listen to advice from older people. And so I just wanted to talk about that, because that's a generation of people that we may come across, or we may have them in our own families. So I just wanted to give that input. Does anybody else have any input on that subject? About the Gen Z generation.
Oh, she's right on point though. You're right on point with what you said.
Right.
I still see though the Gen Zs. I have 2 granddaughters, and they're Gen Zs. I can speak to them, I can show them things and all like that. But the millennials, I hear the information that you gave concerning, but that sounds exactly like the millennials. The millennials they don't want you to, it's like, no, I have a closed ear. I don't want you to teach me what I see on this platform of Google or whatever. That's what it is. That's what I want it to be. So whatever you have to say, I don't care. If I have a job and I don't like it, I'm going to quit it. Doesn't matter if I don't have another job. It's okay. If I don't have a place to lay my head, I don't care. Somebody, one of my friends, somebody, somewhere, even if it's just a night, they'll give me a place to lay my head, and I'll think about tomorrow when it comes.
Yes.
Millennials, you train them at a job, and I mean, they're gone. You know, if not 2 weeks later, soon they're gone. They just have, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think that's where that term came from. Whatever,
Right.
It is what it is. And so they're the ones that I try not to cringe at and try to get in their mindset to try to work with. But I guess the Gen Zs, having only them as a model if their parents aren't integrating what's the word I'm looking for, doing things with them, and all they're doing is sitting in front of the TV or sitting on their gadget, then yeah, they're coming up just the same, because that's how the millennials came up. And the millennials
Right.
had the Gen Zs, and it started with
There
the
you
Gen
go.
Zs.
There you go. That's what I was waiting for you to say. The millennials have the Gen Z, so they're learning from them. They're getting all their teachings and learnings from them. And like I said, they're not respecting the elders. They're like, I don't want to hear about what you did 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 years ago. That's not us. But no wisdom. So we have to be so very careful when we, if we do get that rage age to coach, we have to be very careful with them, because like you said, they have their own opinions. They're not loyal. That's the one thing they're not. They're not loyal to, like you said, a job or anything. It's like everything is going to come my way, and it's a challenge. It is a real challenge with Gen Z grandchildren. So, well, let's go on to session 2. We're going to do the SMART conversation model. And SMART is the anonym for specific. M is the measurable. A is attainable. R is irrelevant. And T is time specific. So specific in the S for SMART. A goal is specific when you can describe it concretely to others. An example would be, I want to be wealthy. That's not a specific goal. How much money is that? What is wealthy to you? $100,000 or $1 million or whatever. Specific would be, I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 40. I want to be able to retire at my current income when I'm 60. That's specific. The goal is not a law. If it's not met within the time, then you redo the goal or you rearrange the goals. If the person made the goal too high and it's not reachable, so you try to coax them into something that's doable, that's reachable. If the goal is not met, renegotiate the goal, but don't make the person feel that they failed. That's the important thing about just say, well, yeah, maybe we should look at things a little bit more differently. Let's renegotiate. Let's give a more realistic time frame. So that's specific. The M is measurable. You need to be able to tell when you've accomplished the goal. I want to be a better leader is not a measurable goal. How do I know when I'm a better leader? That's measurable. This is very tricky because some things, it's like you have to really think about the measurable part. I know in class we really had to think about this, because whatever it was that we came up with, it had to be measurable. Specific, I want to improve my leadership skills by completing a coaching certification this year. That's measurable. Attainable, the A in SMART. It can't be a pipe dream or something unable to be realized. It has to be something that's realistic. An example would be, I want to write and get a book published by the end of the year. That's not attainable if it's already November and you only have a title in mind. So we know that's not attainable. If somebody comes to you and say, yeah, I want to buy a house by the end of this year. Well, how much money do you have saved? I don't have nothing saved, but I just want a house by the end of next year. Has to be attainable. That's the A in SMART. The R in SMART is relevant. A goal is relevant when it is important to you, when it references your value. Example would be, I want to make all my payments on time by December is a relevant goal for someone whose core personal financial value includes being debt-free. And so I made a goal for this year that I wanted to buy a house, but I didn't just start this year. I didn't just start in January. I said I wanted to buy a house, so my goal is to get my credit score up higher so I can qualify for the house that I want. But I can't start in January. I made the goal last year and I'm going to follow it through this year. So the goal was relevant to me because I really want to buy a home. So that's what the R means in relevant. T is time specific. Goals are not open-ended. They have dates attached. I want to start a home for unwed mothers. This is an example. It's not time specific. While I want to start, while this will be time specific. While I want to get the training I need to start a home for unwed mothers and launch it in the next 5 years. That's time specific. It gives that person time to plan. It gives that person time to get the training that they need and whatever else resources they need to open up this home for unwed mothers. So we're going to look at a short video on SMART goals, and this was exactly what what you all were talking about at break. This is about losing weight. That's most of the time for the new year. That's what people they put that goal for themselves. So I thought this would be a very good example of what a SMART goal should look like. So let's play that. This is a 12-minute and 47-second video.
Hi, I'm Haley from Parallel Coaching, and in this video I'm going to teach you 3 steps to be able to write a fitness SMART goal. This is not only appropriate for you if you are working towards your PT portfolio, but also really, really appropriate if you're working with clients and you just want to see them get a result, you want to see them get the goal. So important to be absolutely laser-like clear on that goal, and SMART is the way forward to do that. Step number 1, the bigger picture. So there's no point starting with the tiny part. We want to start with the biggest part of the picture. So what you need to do is ask your client what they want to achieve, not in the next week, but overall, what is their great big aspirations that they have? They might choose something that is like a year or so away, or they might choose something that is 4 months onwards. That's the kind of time frame we're looking for. Anything more than 4 months is a long-term goal. So they might want to look good for a wedding and want to get fitter. They'll probably have a fairly generalized, broad answer. Your job is to specify that and dive deep. So there are 3 questions that you can ask to kind of dive in deeper and find out more and be more and more specific about their goal. The first is really straightforward. It's why do you want to achieve this goal? Why do you want to get fitter? Why do you want to have better definition in your arm? Then the second one is what will having this achievement allow you to do or allow you to feel? So now we're starting to dial into, okay, well, why, but in relation to what will obtaining this goal allow you to do or feel? Now they might turn around and say, oh, well, we'll feel more confident, I'll have more confidence, or it might be along the lines of, well, if I'm fitter, I'll be able to play with the grandchildren. And then the third question you can ask is that what will the impact be for you in the future if you achieve this goal? And this last question is an emotional tie-in. So it gives you more leverage later on when you're looking at really helping your client achieve that goal and maintaining their habit changes as they work forward. But it allows you to have a little bit more leverage to see beyond this long-term goal to know really what their even longer-term goal is and really, really help them. So they are the 3 questions you can use to dive in deeper and get a real big picture of what it is they want to achieve and why they want to achieve it. Step 2, chunk it up. So you have the long-term goal and the long-term aspirations of what your client wants to achieve. We now need to chunk that down into short and medium-term goals. And they don't need to be linear breakdowns of that long-term goal. They need to just be stepping stones to help them achieve that longer term goal. If, for example, the long-term goal is I want to lose 20 kilos over 20 weeks. Let's keep that really, really straightforward. You've kind of given them a set time frame, which is really important before we start chunking. You've given them this set time frame, or they've helped you find that, lose the 20 kilos within 20 weeks. Now, you've got the time frame, then you could chunk it linear, which means that you can then go, okay, well, we'll lose 10 kilos in 10 weeks and 5 kilos in 5 weeks. You have this linear chunk. But the problem with that is it's not that inspiring to your client, and it doesn't necessarily tell you what your objectives are or how you're going to achieve it. So what you can do is put stepping stones in place. Now, the stepping stones will mean that although you might be measuring for weight loss the whole way through, you're actually going to focus on something different at each level. So, for example, weight loss is the long-term goal. Then we make a medium-term goal, maybe about achieving exercise 4 times a week. So going to the gym 4 times a week. Really clear, it's going to help them with the weight loss, but it also means that it's a different type of goal. It's more of an activity-based goal and a process goal rather than about the weight itself. But it will help you achieve that long-term goal. It's really important. Then we could chunk it to the short-term goal being around nutrition, for example. So what dietary changes they make in 1 to 4 weeks that will allow them to help achieve that long-term goal of the weight loss. So both the short-term and the medium-term goal relate to the long-term goal. They help achieve it, but they don't have to be linear breakdowns. And if you avoid a linear breakdown, you will actually get more from the programming because it will feel like you're sculpting different chapters on the lead up to achieving that long-term goal. So once you have an idea of your short, medium and long-term and the types of things you want in there, you now need to add a time frame. Now what we recommend for a short-term goal is that is 1 to 4 weeks. So something they can achieve by week 4 or by week 2, be really clear what will they change and by when. Then medium-term goal is kind of good between 4 weeks and about 16 weeks generally. So you've got 1 month to 3 months to achieve a medium-term goal. And you set that as a set date of 1 month they will have achieved X. Then you have the long-term goal, which is anything from 3 months onwards. So you might choose a 1 year, you might choose 6 months, and that will depend on the goal they've chosen and how far they have to go to get that goal. So now you have an idea of what they want to achieve long term, an idea of what they want to achieve medium term, and an idea of what they want to achieve short term. Step 3, be smart. So we're talking about SMART goals. So let's now break down what a SMART goal is. Now, some people see this as being red tape or tick boxes, but it really is a great opportunity to have laser-like focus on what your client wants to achieve and have absolute clarity as to when they want to achieve it and is it achievable. So that's what we're going to dial in on is the SMART goal. So pick one of the 3 goals you've already set. So for example, the short-term goal. Let's take the short-term goal. And let's say that they want to achieve eating more vegetables as part of their short-term goal, or they want to cut out certain snacks. Take your specific short-term goal. I'm going to use to eat 5 vegetables per day, 5 fruit and veg every day. So what we need to do is we need to use the SMART acronym, and that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time frame. So let's start off with specific. This section is basically asking you to write out very specifically what that goal is. So for my vegetable goal, the SMART goal, for the short-term goal, that would be for my client, so for Mary, to start eating 5 fruit and vegetables every single day for the first week that we're working together. I will measure this on the Monday or on the Sunday after the first week. So let's start with specific. And for my specific goal that we were talking about a minute ago with the vegetables, I would write in here, Mary is going to eat 5 vegetables every day for the next 2 weeks, and we will review this after the second week. So it's a short-term goal that lasts for 2 weeks, and all she needs to do is eat 5 vegetables every day for 2 weeks. I'm going to measure this using a food diary. So that's the type of thing I would write in that specific. I write what she's going to do, something that gives it a time frame, and something about measurability. That's what I need to write in that specific. That laser-like focus, I can put a tick next to that and go, Mary achieved it, or a cross next to it, she didn't achieve it. It needs to be binary. It can't just be, well, she kind of feels a little bit more confident. because that's too subjective. It needs to be something that is like yes or no, did she achieve it or not? Then M is for measurability, or is it measurable? So, for example, with the fruit and vegetables, we were talking about that she's going to measure it using a food diary. Now that's perfect because I can check how much she's been eating or whether she's been eating fruit and vegetables throughout. Or she could use an app like MyFitnessPal. Or if you've got a weight-based goal, then the measurability might be to stand on the scale. Or it could be using some skin fold calories, fat percentage. It could be doing a treadmill fitness test and seeing an increase in a VO2 max. But generally what is needed is you'll need a measurement at the beginning and a measurement at the end of that time frame that you set. So for example, 2 weeks. All you need to do is say how you're going to measure it. I'm going to measure it using a food diary at week 0 and week 2, for example. Then A is achievable. So this is it achievable on a global national scale? It is absolutely achievable that people can eat 5 fruit and veg every day. But if I chose something in the line of I want her to lose 1 stone inside 1 week, then it might not be actually physically achievable unless I cut off an arm. So what I actually need to do is to think about what is achievable on a global or national scale. So you might look at guidelines. So what's the guidelines for weight loss? 1 to 2 pounds a week. So it's half a kilo to a kilo if you're working kilos. So when you're looking at this, what is nationally achievable or for most people? So I would say here, it is achievable for Mary to have 5 fruit and veg every day because it's in line with the guidelines. Straightforward. Or the NICE guidelines, or the Eat Well Fit guidelines. Okay, so we talk a bit about guidelines. Then R is for realistic. So now this is about, is it realistic for Mary, for your client? Is it realistic that they will make that change by the end of the time frame you set? So I go, it is realistic for Mary to be able to achieve this goal based on the fact she's already eating 3 vegetables per day, and there is opportunity for her to include it in the snack rather than sugary chocolate bars. So I've already kind of said what is realistic because, or it's realistic that Barry can do the extra exercise because he's going to substitute driving to work with cycling to work. So you can kind of break it down and say, why is it realistic for that specific time? And then T is about time. This is where you represent, I would write 2 weeks. So my time frame for Mary to have her changes to her nutrition is going to be 2 weeks. So what I would write in T is 2 weeks. That is your SMART formula. Just follow that through. S is specific, being really, really specific as exactly what they want to achieve. N is how you're going to measure it. A is it achievable overall, nationally, or in line with guidelines. R is it realistic for that specific time. And T is about the time frame that you set them to achieve it. I'm up for a challenge. My task for you is, if you write a SMART goal for a client and pop it in the comments box below, use the SMART structure using S equals then your specific statement, M equals your measurable statement, and then put that in the comments box below. I look forward to reading and replying to your SMART goals. So if you've got any questions about that as you're writing it, then just pop those in as well and I will answer them. Also, let me know, are you a qualified personal trainer that's looking to accelerate client results? Or are you training to be a personal trainer or fitness coach whereby you're looking to complete your portfolio and get all the boxes ticked? If you like this video, make sure you hit the little thumbs up button, share with your friends, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.
Okay. You hear Trish?
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, that was a very, very good model for SMART. Absolutely very smart a model. She talked about the specific, and you see, she wasn't, when she talked about specifics, she didn't just, the person that just didn't say, I want to lose weight. She wrote out a specific goal, like eat more vegetables or eat less junk food. And then she measured it with the M from the beginning to the end. She said, okay, I'll use a food diary. So that's measurable. You can take the food and put it in the diary and say, okay, I ate the 5 vegetables per day and I cut down on my junk food. Even if you can't cut down on them, you might cut down on them a lot or a little, but at least it was measurable. Then it was attainable. She had medium goals, short-term goals, and long-term goals. So that was she. And then she said something about the guidelines for weight loss on a global scale to see if it was attainable. So if you're only supposed to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week, that's attainable because all across the world, that is what they use as far as weighing how much weight you should lose. Then she talked about the time frame, the changes in her diet, and the time frame that she needed to achieve the end result. So that was a very, very good example of SMART. Very, very good. So now we're going to talk about SEA. And what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate the SMART and the SEA at the end. Those are the last 2 models that we'll use. So the the C is what you're going to do when you talk to I want you to break down in groups of 2 this time, though. If you have an even number, please do that. Because group is okay, but I need you to break down in 2 because I want to hear at least 1 case or 2 cases about what you came up with. So the SEA part is not a conversational model. It's something that you do at the end of a SMART conversation. So the essence, the part C is be there for them, reminding them about the reason they want to change, supporting them in their desire to change, coming in alongside that person, believing the best in them, showing your support, sending them little encouragement things. Like I had a partner when I was in the class, my partner was in Arizona, and he wanted to increase his body measurements for his biceps or something. So I would send him little encouraging little things every day, and he would send me little. He was my partner too, and I had to send him little things every day to encourage him. So by the end of the 6 weeks, when we did our SMART, that he would have the encouragement that he needed from us. You also encourage them at their lowest point. Help them when they hit the wall, and some people do hit the wall. Help them when they are about to give up, and some people get there. They just get very disappointed. Something may happen, and they just like, forget it. I'm not going to do this. So you want to be there at their lowest point. And the A and C is accountability, reminding them what they decided that they were going to do. Let them stick to it. Stick with them long enough where the change can happen, and the change can be real, and the change can be lasting. So that's the SEA part in C: support, encouragement, and accountability. So are there any questions about the SEA? C.
So when you're doing the encouraging, you said you contacted the person every day, but you didn't, that's not necessary.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I didn't contact him every day. No, I would send him pictures of people in the gym and, doing exercises or something. Then I would say something to him like, keep up the good work, or you can do it. No, I'm sorry. If I said that, I was wrong. I didn't contact him every day because we had
on a regular basis.
Yeah, I did at least once a week. I did absolutely, and once a week because we were being graded for that. We had to keep up with our partners for 6 weeks, and then we had to send them. We had to do SMART and C together. So he had a goal that he wanted to do his biceps to be a certain number, and then I had to show the C. I had to get down to, I had to show that I was supporting him, encouraging him, and that he was accountable. So yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say I should do this stuff every day. That's not necessary. Unless it depends on the case now. It depends on the case.
If someone's a drug addict, you need to be monitored a little bit closer.
Right. But I do want to tell you the difference between coaching and I think we went over this in the first class, the difference between coaching and counseling.
Right.
Actually, coaching is not for hardcore people that have not gotten over a lot of physical or mental issues. It's for a person that kind of has it together. They just get stuck in a certain place and they just need some help, a little push. But because that was my mistake that I made when I had to go outside of the group that I was in. I had to pick a person, work with that person for 6 weeks. And I think I told you this before. This person had all kinds of issues and problems. They were not good for the SMART, the C, the OPS. They needed some serious, serious help. But after the 6 times that I've seen it, I started with that person, so I had to end with that person. Then then at that point that you have to refer them further to somewhere else. Because this person wanted to lose weight. They wanted the weight loss surgery. They were having boyfriend problems, and they were having abandonment issues from their father. So they had a whole lot of things going on. So it was kind of hard for me to sift through all of that just to get to the point where she really wanted to have the surgery, but she was scared because she had never had surgery before. And so we had to get through that. We had to make a goal. And she did get to the steps of the goal. She did go to the weight loss clinic, and she did do all that. And she made an appointment and to see the nutritionist, and I guess it's 5 or 6 people that you see when you go there. So she did make the goal. She never followed through with it, but at least I got through her making the goal to actually go through with it. But she never did. But after the 6 weeks, I didn't have to, not that I wouldn't show her accountability, but she had some more issues and concerns. So she just chose not to have the surgery at that time. So this is not for real deep-seated issues with abandonment and hurt and drug addicts and stuff like that. This is for people that just get stuck, just in the little places they're stuck, and they just need that little push. Okay? Any more questions?
Yeah, I still don't have the acronyms quite for SEA. Could you put that
Okay,
up?
let's go back. That will be support, encourage, and accountability. You see it on the screen?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, it's not a conversational model. It's just a model outline that you use with a conversational model. Any more questions before you break off into groups? So session 2, we'll practice the SMART and the C. One person will be the coach, and one person will be the mentee, and you'll switch up roles.
Okay, well, she's going to talk about it with the SMART and what her partner, she and her partner talked about. Go ahead, Cindy.
Okay, I want to lose weight.
Okay.
And specifically, when we talked, I know that it's not just to lose weight, but it's to change my behavior patterns.
Okay.
So then to be measurable, I can write down what I'm going to eat. I decided that I'm going to eat 3 meals a day, portion controlled, and 1 snack, but it has to be a healthy snack.
Okay.
And that's attainable for me because I don't have kids or anything, so I don't have to have a lot of junk food in my house.
Okay.
Relevant.
Attainable. What's the next word?
Attainable. Oh, okay. Attainable. So being attainable, I'm not quite sure how that
Well,
would.
was the goal attainable? Is it something that?
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely, because I'm not putting an amount of weight that I want to lose. I just want to start having better eating habits.
Right, because that was your specific goal, change your behavior pattern. It wasn't.
Correct.
Right, good, that's good, okay.
And then to measure that, that's how I'm going to measure it, is by cutting out all the 10 meals a day and garbage and everything, but just having the 3 meals a day and a small snack.
Okay, all right, great. So
And
what was the R?
The R, relevant?
Yes. How relevant is this to your life right now? Is it really important to you to do this?
Okay. Relevant, a goal is relevant when it's important, because I want to feel and be healthier.
Okay.
There are things I want to do, and I know that if I start eating healthier and making better food choices, it's going to help me do the things that I want to do in my life and in my church.
Okay, and what's the T, the time specific? Did you give yourself a time?
You're following up for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks to see how I'm doing. We're going to see how this works out for 2 weeks.
So is your partner going to follow up with you with the SEA support?
Yes, for 2 weeks.
Great, great, absolutely great.
And then from there we can see if things need to change in any way or that kind of thing.
Okay, so the SMART goal is change your behavior. You're going to do measurable by writing down what you ate 3 meals a day, healthy snacks, no junk food. The A was attainable because you said, I forgot what you said. It was attainable before you. And the R was relevant because it's going to make you feel better. You're going to be healthier. And the T was time specific, which is 2 weeks. Your partner is going to follow up with you with the SEA.
Yes.
Now, I got a question for you. Anybody in the room, and I want it to be anybody else in the room. How would you follow this up with OPS?
Me? Anybody?
No, not you.
Not me. Okay. Somebody else answer.
OPS up there so we can see it better.
I'll put it up.
Observe, probe, and what was the S? Observe, probe, and SPS. It's in there somewhere.
I know. I'm trying to find it.
EAS, is that what you're doing? OPS.
Oh, OPS
Options.
is observe and probing and sifting.
Would you like to learn how not?
Okay, sifting. So sifting would be.
Let's do the O first.
The O, observing, give me action. That's going to give you action.
What is the intuition indicators that maybe your partner got from you from if he would probe? You said you wanted to change your behavior patterns. What will be an underlying tuition indicator that will come to anybody's mind? Anybody can answer this actually. How you could probe into this to get a deeper meaning. Does that make any sense?
An underlying reason why she's having problems with eating healthily?
Well, the underlying reasons why maybe her behavior was like that in the first place. Just a little probing. Listen to your curiosity and listen to the Holy Spirit. What would you ask to probe a little bit deeper?
So somebody could say something like, when do you find yourself eating something that's inappropriate?
There you go. That's good, Chris.
Okay, or are there certain times when you find certain factors that make you run to the refrigerator?
Absolutely. That's very good. Since we didn't get to practice OPS, I was just trying to throw it in.
Or even like boredom, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. So then she would answer that, of course, to her person that she was talking to. Now, how would you sift that? Sifting is the process of helping the client to identify outside the obvious what might be going on in a life situation.
Okay, so maybe we could say, are there people in your lives that you're interacting with that cause you stress? Are there certain relationships that cause you to be more upset? Or are there something like a financial situation that makes you feel uncomfortable and you want to go eat something for comfort?
Okay, another good question would be one of the questions that I had up before. How are your personal strengths and weaknesses playing out in this situation? What needs to change in you? See, that's sifting. That's like getting all the junk out of the way and getting straight to the point. That would be a good question. So she would have to really dig deep. Say like, okay, what is going on in my life that I need to change? Why I need to change my behavior patterns of eating. Okay, so that's it. OPS.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Really good. Can I get another? Just one more.
Hello there. In this video, we had. Would you like to?
One more situation.
No, she wants to take what you talked about with Madeline and apply it with the observing, probing, and.
Oh, we did not do that.
I know we didn't do that.
I mean, that's what I was telling about the yesterday. That's what I can do, but I can't go into anything else.
Okay. Paul, can we kind of precise more what you were talking about?
Okay, so what I wanted to work on, my goal was to press into the word more. I have two little ones at home, and my life feels like it's been upside down, and there's a lot of distractions going on right now. Whereas prior to it, I had time to read the word, spend time in prayer, and now I'm finding it very difficult to find that time to do that. Okay. So what I started to do was getting up earlier in the morning than I normally was, because that was the best time of the day where there weren't all these distractions. The challenge is that I'm tired, because I'm always tired, because when I'm moving through the night, little one's getting up 3-4 times a night. It's been very challenging. So, but that's what I've been sticking to, and I've started this for a little while now. I've been doing it. It's just something that I've just been pressing in. So some of the challenges are, okay, am I getting up early enough? Because, I have to get myself, together in the morning. So that takes a little bit of time, and then get myself down to a place in my prayer room where I can get myself ready to, pray and spend time in the Word. And I've been listening to teachings as well. So some of the things I've been trying to work out is how much time do I spend in prayer? How much time do I spend listening to a teaching? And how much time, what was the other thing I said? Reading. Yeah, so reading. So I'm finding, well, I'm figuring it out that I probably can't do all three every morning. Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, so maybe one morning I'll just spend my time in prayer. Another day I will listen to a teaching, and another day I will read. And so I was just trying to talk that through with my coach about, what are maybe some of the best practices.
Okay.
So that I could reach my goal of really just getting in front of God and spending more time with Him.
So if you had to you said press into the Word more. If you just had to break that down a little bit more, because that's like so vague, so like vast, what would you break it down to? Like
opening the Bible and reading Scripture.
Okay, there you go. That's what I want to do. That's what I want. Yeah. So how would you measure that? How would you measure what you do? How would you, like, at the end of the day, when all said and done, how would you measure, did I attain this goal?
If I did it.
Right. So the goal would be to read 2 chapters or 2 chapters.
Yeah. No, I guess I don't know that if I'd read 2 chapters, I'd read probably a chapter. But I may not get through a chapter because if there's a verse there that, you know, strikes me and I spend time on it, I don't want to say I'm going to read a chapter. I want to say I'm going to start with the chapter and work my way through it.
Okay.
So why don't you say a time? Like I'll spend 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and that way you're not confined to a particular chapter, you know, amount of chapters, because like you said, sometimes, you know, you get to a point and you have to wait a minute, Holy Spirit, break this down for me. you know, so you're searching for other things. So, you know, allot yourself, okay, you know, you only have a specific amount of time in the morning, because that's the problem. You can't do all three because of the time. So, okay, for 15 minutes or for 20 minutes every morning, I'm going to one morning read, one morning pray, one morning, I forget the other thing you said you were going to do.
Listen to teaching.
Oh yeah, listen to a teaching.
But he says, I think he said he splits them up into 3 days because you can't do all three in one day.
Yeah.
So that's a goal too.
The teachings are like an hour long.
Right. That's a goal too. You know, on Monday, you know, and I'll do the teachings on Monday and Wednesday, and Tuesday and Thursday I'll, you know, do whatever, and then Thursday I'll do something else. So that's a good way of breaking it down. And just like Madeline said, the time that you spend, it has to be specific. If you don't get to verse 75, you don't get there. But at least you have a time limit, specific, that I'm going to spend 15 minutes in the Word, no matter what, or 10 minutes, or whatever you come up with. Okay. And I can understand why that's relevant to you, because you're a Christian and you want to grow more in the Lord. So that would be a definite, you know, we know that answer. And then you just have to figure out what's attainable, because you have all these other factors going on with the kids and all that. You have to figure out, is this, you know, is this realistic? Is it attainable? Can I do this with 2 infant babies?
Yeah.
Very good examples. So we went over grow, we went over SMART, we went over DOOR, we went over C, we went over tuition indicators, and we went over the conversational model of OPS. So we covered a lot today, a whole lot. So if you look at this, these are the overviews and the takeaways. The takeaways would be active listening skills. I cannot even tell you how important that is when you're coaching. It is so important to listen, and you want to jump in, you want to give advice, you want to fix it. And if you're like me, you're a fixer, you want to fix it. As soon as you hear something, you're like, okay, I can fix this. Wait for the Holy Spirit. Wait for those, get those listening skills going and active, not to fix people, but to empower them to fix themselves. And one thing I took away, or a lot of things I took away from the class, but one of the educator said was, if God doesn't take the responsibilities from them, whoever them is, who are the people that we see, why should we? We should not take responsibility from them to fix their own issues, concerns, and problems. And so that is the end of my presentation. And the